So I've now set the body of the head on the bench so that I can reassemble it, and I'll set the camera going and see if I get any decent video, but it's going to be a little tricky. So here it is, the body of the head sitting here, and I guess the main thing first thing I'm going to have to do is put in the main shaft. You wouldn't think I was a doctor with hands like this, covered in grease. I'll have to get them cleaned up before I go back to work. Okay, got some surgeon's gloves, well actually they're not, they're just simple latex gloves which don't stand up to being slathered in grease and kerosene and stuff very well. I'm going to slather plenty of grease over this tapered bearing race. Plenty of grease. Right, there's in the back there, but this way I had to take this whole shaft out, was the only way to get to it was to get the shaft out. So now the gear has to have the slot engaged. Now one part we don't want to get covered in grease really is the pulleys themselves. You don't get grease all over your V-belt, then that's a bit tricky. Actually it's a bit tricky when you put it in storage and you want to oil the whole lathe up so it doesn't go rusty, and you don't really want to get oil on that belt. This thing's got a bronze bush on it, you can see there, there's a bronze piece on the end there. Actually there's just an end thrust bearing, it's only about 1/8 inch thick. It doesn't go right through this thing. The inside of it's just a cast iron bearing on the inside. Everything else has to go in there. The back gear goes on later. Oh yes, there's a couple of spacers have to go in. The spacers went in the back end, and I made note. There's a small one goes inside, and the large one goes outside. One smaller than the other. And they go on the back bearing, not the front one. How am I going to get it in there? Because that selector is preventing, I think it's preventing the back that gear from sliding along its keyway. And put this on here so I can shift the lever. That's right. It'll be quite in the right place, but may not be because it's not going into its hole, but the gear is actually pulled all the way across, so I need to shift that a bit. So I need to get in here to put one of these spacers in. Maybe I should have put it in before I put the whole shaft in, I think. Put the small spacer on the inside, I believe. It fits in from the outside, I didn't really have to do that after all. Okay. That's a large spacer. Now we need the second needle tapered roller bearing. Slip it into place. Well, without popping the other bearing out. Is that right? Seems to be a fairly tight fit on that shaft actually. And then the big spacer goes after that. Double check it fits before I go too far. Oh boy, my fingers are slippery. And I think I'll try using this little brass headed hammer to gently tap it. Perfect. I'll have to tip it up on its end so I'm not pushing the shaft straight out the other side. Sounds like it's dead solid, but it's not going in yet. Of course, when you adjust this, it needs to be well, needs to be free running, but not so tight it damages the bearings, and it's got a long way to go actually. Good quarter of an inch to go. Ah, that sounds different. That's better. This is where the sleeve goes over it. Oh, that's good and solid. And it feels quite free except for all the grease in there. Okay, so I'm fairly satisfied they've got that in there. I wish it wasn't so tight, because that means that if I turn those little screws to little nut things to adjust it, I'm not sure they're going to work very well when it's so tight. Okay, so here's the two rings that are threaded on the inside that are used to adjust the tension on these taper bearings. But when I had to hammer it in, I'm not too sure that it will move with just screwing this on. I think they're both the same. Each of them has 4 holes for putting in a special tool, which I don't have. But I found that when I came to take this apart, it's perhaps of interest to you, that they weren't all that tight, so I just had to tap them very lightly with a brass rod. Got a brass rod that fitted quite neatly into these little holes, and just tapped it and came in and done straight away. So I guess I'll probably end up doing it up the same way. So this one screws on and to adjust the pressure between the two roller bearings, which are tapered. And once you've got it adjusted correctly, then you put the second one on and tighten it up to lock it. I'll put that on now. Again. Doesn't seem to be any end play. These things can be adjusted after it's assembled, so because they're out the end of the box here. So I guess I don't have to worry too much during the assembly process about getting it perfect, because we can adjust it later. And apparently what you do is, after assembling it the first time, when you first run it, you have to just check it to make sure that the bearings aren't getting hot. If they are, it's too tight. Oh, here's my little brass puncher I used on these last time. And that'll do for now. Feels good. Okay, now I think all I have to do is put those end plates in. By the way, they say these things don't have oil seals on them, but this one does have a like a felt ring inside here. Magic. Now I hope there's no other parts I've left out that had to go in before this shaft. I don't have to put that in just yet. What I do have to do now is the back here. When I was using kerosene, the kerosene just dissolved the gloves, they fell to bits. Okay. This is a shaft that I found to be just slightly rusty. I was wondering whether I should polish it a little bit, but I don't really want to get grinding grit or anything else in here, so I don't think I will. brass punch. Problem is that's eccentric, so I've got to get the eccentricity around so it's possible to push it in. So, oh yes, to get this apart I had to use some grips on it to make it rotate around to get it out because it was a bit rusty, and left a few burr marks there. 1200 wet and dry paper. It may not be coarse enough to deal with this, but I might have to get a file onto it. Oh yeah, there doesn't seem to be too much in play now. And then there's this washer that goes over the end, just like a sort of a cap to stop this shaft from sliding out. Okay, well, I think that's got the head assembled. Plenty of grease on there because I'll probably never get under there again to protect it against rust. That thing's pretty heavy to move once it's got all the gears in it. That's the top, that's the front. Will it work just to lift it on there? I somehow doubt it, but let's give it a go. Oh, shit, that's heavy. Okay, so that is mounted on the bed correctly. It's finger tight. I'm going to run the head off the end of the bed a little bit here so I can turn the plate around, the back plate. If I can move it up to the same point, get my fingers up there. I shouldn't need much of a turn now with the finger plate. This back one's easy to get to, no problem. A bit rock solid. I should have done this one first because now I don't know whether it's tight enough. I can't slide it along to check. But it feels like it's tightening up quite well. Yes, got it. There's a little Allen key in the pulley block. It has to be screwed up to connect onto the shaft. It's one tiny little Allen key grub screw. It holds it onto the shaft. Ah, there we go. Good, that does work. Well, I just edited out some swearing because I discovered I'd left the V-belt out. But of course, having a V-belt in there with all that grease is not great, so I ended up buying a special belt that's made up of a lot of short links that join together. And that's the way it's usually done.